In this video, we'll be going over the best rapid-fire endgame build for Season 10. It uses the Zan rune to make every rapid-fire overpower. The overpower variant does about double the damage of a non-overpower build, but it's hard to play. In this video, I'll go over how to overpower with every rapid-fire cast. For rapid-fire rogues, the best rune for generating offering has been the Yax rune, which generates 200 offering whenever you use a healing potion. The Cax rune has been good to pair with this, but this season the Zan rune increases your damage by about double compared to the Cax rune, and this is due to the chaotic powers. The Zan rune causes all your hits to overpower for 0.35 seconds on the next hit after it procs, and this pairs well with rapid fire because it takes about 0.35 seconds for the rapid fire hits to explode. There's a couple of reasons that the Zan rune is better this season from the chaotic powers. The first is that Power Siphon reduces your max resource after you rapid fire. This limits the effectiveness of the Cax rune, making the Zan rune the better option. The second reason is that the Zan rune can use the chaotic power combo of Brawn Before Brains and Unpredictable Alchemy. This combination is better than the typical Beast Cornered and Marred Guard, as rapid fire doesn't generate enough barrier for a Beast Cornered without sacrificing damage and changing the build. For the rotation, you need to use 2 potions before each rapid fire. I like to use the first potion around when I use the first basic attack. For the basic, the build uses Puncture as it doesn't reload from Orphan Maker and can still be cast quickly. After the 3 punctures, I usually like to wait for a split second before using the second potion, as this prevents the last puncture from consuming the Zan buff while it's still in the air. You can use rapid fire right after the second potion, and can even evade cancel the rapid fire animation if you have evade ready. You'll usually have evade ready with this build, even without using evade cooldown reduction boots, and I'll be going over that more in the gearing section. I like to use Smoke Grenade early in the rotation because for some reason it tends to consume the Zan buff if it's used right before the second potion. If your attacks stop overpowering, it's likely because you're out of sync with the potion use. You have to watch the Zan icon on your character's buff bar to know if you need to use 1 or 2 potions before the next rapid fire to get back in rhythm. So here's the planner that I'll be linking you guys in the description. And for this build in the endgame, you eventually want to have 3 mythic uniques and 3 chaos armors. For the mythic uniques, you want the Air Perdition, Shroud of False Death, and Ray of Starless Skies. And the chaos items, you want the Crown of Lucian, Banished Lord's Talisman, and Sky Hunter. And for the chaos items, it doesn't really matter which slots they're in as long as you have all 3 of them, but these are the best options to use. And if you don't have one of these options, the Fist of Fate chaos armor is also good to put in. So for getting the evade cooldown, I switched to using a Dex and cooldown reduction Greater Affix amulet. And this is just a great amulet because, well, for one, it's really cheap compared to some of the other options. Like if you want a greater passive plus greater dex, it's around like 40 billion or so. But this you can get for around 500 million. So I'm using the cooldown reduction from this, cooldown reduction from the Crown of Lucian, and I also temper evade cooldown reduction onto the amulet. So the evade cooldown is almost down to 2 seconds. So I can evade pretty much every rapid fire, unless I'm really spamming it. But I can evade to keep the Ray of Starless Skies and Crown of Lucian buffs going. And it's just a great quality of life thing to have the evade cooldown action down. And the cooldown action also helps with the cold imbuement charges, because since we're using all this chaos armor, we don't have an additional spot to put the cold imbuement temper. So in order to keep it up permanently, it's good to have cooldown reduction so that we can have it up permanently even with only 1 temper for the cold imbue. And we're also putting the lucky hit chance to drop potion on the amulet because we're using chaos armor in all these slots. So the only place to put it is on the amulet. So this allows us to have potions up all the time to proc the Zan rune. And it's just a really easy build to start gearing. as well as an easy build to have in the endgame, because in the endgame, some of these items, no other endgame build uses, so it's really cheap to build it. And to start it, all you need is an Orphan Maker plus the Zan rune, and you can get going, doing a lot of damage. So for skills, we're using Puncture and Rapid Fire, and then the Caltrips, Smoke Grenade, and Poison Trap are mostly just for the damage multipliers. I found it's just better than using Dash for pit pushing, because damage is more important than mobility in the current state of pits. So for skills, it's pretty much like a normal rapid fire build. There's just a few options that I've done this season. So one is I have an extra point in rapid gambits, and this allows evade to be used all the time for elites and regular mobs, because when you evade through them, it just resets your evade cooldown back to 0, so you can just keep using the evade. Against bosses, it doesn't help, but for the rest of the run, having an additional point in rapid gambits really helps with the evade. And then I also have points in Shadow Imbuement here, because from our Chaos perks, we proc Shadow Imbuement from the punctures, and it allows 12% extra damage to be dealt to all the mobs from that. And the rest of it's pretty standard. Yeah, I just put 1 point in Innervation just to get a bit more resource back if something happens, and then 3 points of Rugged, but those points are, you can put them anywhere. And then for the Chaos perks, we're using Brawn Before Brains. It has 125% overpower damage, and it's also really nice because I don't have to put armor or resistance in any gear. I have enough, because it reduces your max resist and your damage reduction from armor, but it just gives you a ton of max life, so you don't need to put any armor or max resist on your gear, and you have enough survivability. And Unpredictable Alchemy also got buffed recently in the patch, a week or two ago, up to 60%, and we're using it anyway, so it's a really nice change. And then Power Siphon, just 100% core damage, and Enervated Strikes, 150% core damage. So these perks are really allowing Rapid Fire Zan to be great this season, and it's actually the third best build for pit pushing right now. It's pretty close to the Poison Trap builds, but I think it's a bit better. I've done a 113, and I'm pretty sure I can do 115 or 116 if I really push and get a bit better gear, but we'll see how that goes. For Paragon, the boards are Leiron's Instinct. It now has core damage all the time, just 60%, so this is just a really nice board for any core skills. Exploit Weakness, it also has a bit of damage reduction now. Eldritch Bounty, 50% now, and Cunning Stratagem. This one's interesting. So what it does is combo point bonuses are increased by 40% multiplicatively when you spend 3 combo points. So this just increases your damage. It's the total damage by 40%. It's not just like the bonus damage by 40%. So it's the total damage of the skill by 40%. So it's nice, and then also has 1 extra arrow. I've noticed, so the Zan rune, the proc allows overpowers for 0.35 seconds on the hit, after the first hit, after it procs. And Rapid Fire takes around 0.35 seconds to fully explode on the shots. So the extra arrow, it sometimes overpowers and sometimes doesn't, but this is just a really nice board because it has a ton of max life as well. And overpower deals bonus damage based on your current life, so it's always good to have a bit more extra defense. And so for the Paragon, since we're using Brawn Before Brains and also the Banished Lord's talisman on our armor, we don't need any additional all resist from gear. So I don't need any of these resist all magic nodes or this armor. So it really saves up a lot of points to put in more offense. And for the glyphs, I'm using Canny, Combat, Control, Devious, and Headhunter. For Devious this season, I switched it to the Eldritch Bounty board because the imbue damage on the magic slots is the highest option compared to some of the previous ones like crit damage. This is just a better option, and that would not scale extra with crit damage from precision. Um, and then combat. This one's kind of optional, but combat's still the best one, just because it provides the most flat damage. You can get up to 493% critical strike damage from combat, and that's higher than a ranger or frost feeder, those other options. This rapid fire build is the best endgame build for rapid fire in Season 10, and is surprisingly the third best endgame pit pushing build for rogues. This overpower variant deals about double the damage of any non-overpower rapid fire variant, but I might make a separate guide for a non-overpower variant if people are looking to play it. This build is very easy to gear for, but difficult to play. Some of the other endgame builds above it need specific gear to fully function, like triple masterwork crits or cooldown reduction Shakos, but this build can start functioning early on. It just has a skill/practice investment instead of a gearing investment. Once you learn the rhythm of overpowering rapid fires with the Zan rune, it's very rewarding and fun, and it's great that rapid fire is finally viable again at the endgame.